Listen now for these holy words. From Anne Weems. When the Holy Child is born into our hearts, there is a rain of stars, a rushing of angels, a blaze of candles. This God burst into our lives. Love is running through the streets. And from the first chapter of Luke, the Song of Mary, paraphrased by John Philip Newell. My soul sings of you, O God. My spirit delights in your presence. You have cherished my womanhood. You have honored earth's body. All will know the sacredness of birth. All will know the gift of life. Your grace is to those who are open, your mercy to the humble in heart. The dreams of the proud crumble. The plans of the powerful fail. You feed the hungry with goodness. You deny the rich their greed. The hopes of the poor are precious. The birth pangs of creation are heard. You have been faithful to the human family. You are the seed of new beginnings. My soul sings of you, O God. My spirit delights in your presence. This is ancient wisdom and holy word. All creation is wisdom and holy word.
All creation sings the wisdom of God.
Hallelujah. So the beautiful Song of Mary, also known as the Magnificat, has been read and sung for millennia. It is found in the first chapter of Luke's Gospel, and it follows on a passage known as the Annunciation. This is when the angel Gabriel comes to young Mary to tell her about her impending pregnancy. Now, if you've ever been to an art museum, you've probably seen a depiction of the Annunciation. Here are a few examples. I was told it was the down one. Oh, there we go. All right. So they go all the way back. You get to see the nice medieval city in the background, as I'm sure would have been when Mary was a young woman. Or you've got more modern depictions. Gabriel as light and dove. I like this pre-Raphaelite version. Mary looks a little like she was in the middle of doing yoga and got disturbed there. And Gabriel here is pretty androgynous. I think that's kind of interesting. And holding a lily, which you'll see in several of these. That's a sort of image of purity that's in a number of these paintings. In this one, you get how young Mary is, young and innocent. I don't know, I find this a little creepy. She's a little too young, schoolgirl there with the monk. I don't know, that gives me the creeps a little bit. But you see the lily there again. But it convey that sense that she was very young and innocent. I like this one, a little more abstract, a big sense of the wings of Gabriel coming around Mary. And Mary standing very straight and proud. This one, you really can sense that here she is alone. I mean, she's alone in all of these pictures, but there's something about this one that makes me really aware of her, how this must have been to be alone and afraid and have a sense of God moving around you. And this one, I feel like this one's just after Gabriel left, and she's sort of taken this in. It's like, woo, that's a lot. She's a little overwhelmed in this one. Just, can you see the little halo in the corner? There's just sort of the remnant of an angelic visitation there. Well, we didn't read the text of the Annunciation today, But we did sing about it in our opening hymn, which is part of why I wanted to go through it twice, since folks didn't seem to really join in the first time. I changed a few words in the hymn, but there was really just one word that I had to change. The original hymn sings that Mary meekly bowed her head. I changed that word to softly. I don't believe there was anything meek about Mary's response. Let's put ourselves in her shoes for a moment. Yeah, it was probably kind of like that, like, whoa, Gabriel. So as some of these paintings showed very clearly, Mary was a very young woman. And as her singing of the Magnificat shows, she was a deeply faithful person. Now, how would we know that? Well, the Magnificat is actually a variation on the song that Hannah sang in 1 Samuel when she becomes pregnant after not being able to conceive for a long time. So it's a song that tells the story of the Hebrew people, of their enslavement and exile, and the ways that God brought them through. And Mary, according to Luke's story, clearly knew Hannah's song. Okay, here's your weekly reminder. A biblical story does not have to be historically factual in order to provide us with abiding truths. Okay, just a reminder. So the way this story is framed, Mary is this young, faithful Jewish woman, betrothed to be married, when she has a vision. Luke's gospel says that the angel Gabriel came and met her with, "Greetings, highly favored one." And Luke wrote that she was perplexed by that greeting. Perplexed? How about dumbfounded? How about stupefied? How about petrified? That's probably why the next words out of the angel's mouth were, "Don't be afraid." Now, you do know that that's the first thing that the messengers of God say every time they show up. Be not afraid. Fear not. Why would the angels of God always be saying this to us? Well, maybe they don't look like those sweet little babies that we see floating around at Christmas time, or Glinda the Good Witch. Maybe Austrian poet Rainier Marie Rilke was closer to the truth when he said, "Every angel is terrifying. Fear not. Don't be afraid." This is the most repeated phrase in both the Hebrew Scriptures and the Greek Testament. Now, why do you think that is? Is God so very terrifying? Well, that's what some people would want you to think, right? And let's be honest. If you find God right up in your face speaking to you, that might be a little startling. Might be a little bit unsettling. Because if a message of God comes through, you know right then and there that your life is about to change. Never going to be the same again. And that can be kind of scary. I think there's another reason. Imagine that the Spirit of God, that divine wisdom, wants to get a message to you in a way that you can receive it. I mean, really, go ahead and imagine that. Maybe there's a question that you've been asking in your life, or maybe a sense of restlessness that you've been feeling, or a concern about the world that is nagging you. And you'd like some guidance, some clarity, some direction, some understanding. So here comes a messenger of God. And the first words are, "Fear not," because the angels see the fear in us. The divine presence feels that fear that we carry around with us, that doubt that we cling to, that worry that clenches our hearts and our hands and our breath. And if we keep holding on to that fear, there's not enough room for God's message. As long as our hearts and our hands are clenched with worry, we can't be open to receive. So, however you envision or imagine the Spirit of God, one thing is true. Holiness, divine wisdom, is pure love. And perfect love casts out fear. So if we want to hear the voices of the angels, we have to loosen our grip on our doubts. So back to Mary. She is perplexed by this vision, but she's listening. And Gabriel says to her, "You will conceive in your womb, and you will bear a son, and you will call him Jesus, Yeshua, the one who saves." To which she's like, "What? That doesn't quite make sense. Doesn't quite fit. I think maybe you got the wrong gal." In my experience, this is almost always the first response to a message from God. That doesn't seem quite right. I don't think that fits with reality as I understand reality. I'm not sure you've got the right person. So the angel spoke to Mary again and said, "The Holy Spirit will come over you and surround you, and the baby that is born will be holy." I'm guessing that was not all that reassuring. And Gabriel concluded, "For nothing will be impossible with God." Nothing will be impossible with God. According to Luke's account, it sounds like as soon as Gabriel explained that little factoid, she was like, "Oh, well, in that case, fine. Go ahead. Do what you got to do." I'm guessing that's not exactly how it happened. I'm guessing Mary needed a minute. Imagine the shock and confusion. Imagine her sense of inadequacy. Have you ever been presented with a challenge? Perhaps one you didn't choose, but that felt important. Maybe even like a calling. Was your first instinct to say, "Oh, goody, that's exactly what I wanted in my life"? Often, our most important challenges, our highest callings, do not present themselves as good ideas. Sometimes they seem crazy, or risky, or at least impractical. So often we feel or think, "I wish God would be more clear with me in my life. I wish the Spirit would tell me what to do. I wish divine wisdom would show up for me." But do we? I think the Spirit does speak to us in myriad ways, in nature and silence, in music and friends, and also in terror and trauma and loss. The problem is not that divine wisdom doesn't show up. The problem may be that we're looking for something soft and sweet, kind of like those fat baby angels. We're not actually asking for something earth-shaking, something that will forever upend our lives as we know them. We want the pretty angels, not the terrifying ones. Now, the truth is, the Spirit's power is loving, and it will lovingly help us get rid of all our illusions. Who doesn't love some disillusionment? It will kindly remind us that the things we believe offer security are not all that secure. It will benevolently help us detach from those things we're most attached to. ouch. This is why I think Mary's response was not meek. She was brave. She was audacious. Mary consented to have her life turned upside down. She agreed to the possibility of humiliation and abandonment. She said a wild, bold yes to letting the divine have their way with her. She said, "Here I am. Let it be with me as God declares." She invited this mystified magic into her world, and there is nothing meek about that. That takes guts. Once she said that yes, once she made that invitation, then she was able to sing the song about the world turned on its head, where the rich and poor, the powerful and humble all change places, where God is no longer some ideal stuck in some distant heaven, but is love here on earth running through the streets. Once Mary says yes, then she can see it all, the possibilities, the promise. But she had to say yes first. But then she sees how earth is going to be honored, how birth is going to be honored, how women will be honored. Have you ever noticed how in the Christmas narratives, women are centered? Elizabeth gives birth while her husband, the priest Zachariah, is struck dumb and can't speak through her whole pregnancy. Mary sings out while Joseph is kind of stumbling around on the sidelines, a bit confused by the whole thing, doesn't know quite what happened. But both Zachariah and Joseph support these women and the children they bear. And they do so silently. They stand aside and they listen and watch God at work in creating new life, new love, new possibilities through these powerful women. The women bear the new love into the world with blood and sweat and tears. The conception may have been immaculate, but birth is messy. This is my body, broken for you. Gabriel invited Mary, but Mary had to consent. The Christmas season reminds each of us that the Spirit calls us to bear divine loves in our own bodies, to quietly let it grow there, and then through our blood and our tears to birth that love into the world. It starts with our yes. Like Mary, we may be perplexed. Like Mary, we may feel completely inadequate to the path laid before us. Nevertheless, like Mary, we can say yes. We can consent to joining with divine passion. We can consent to all the pregnant possibilities. What is being asked of each of us? Of each of us. Of every single one of us, is bigger than most of us are willing or able to imagine. The divine love we are called to birth is so all-encompassing that it shatters all those little plans we make for our lives. And that's kind of scary. Most of us have invested a great deal of time and energy and money into those plans. But if your yes could change the world, if your willingness to consent to be filled with God could bring peace, if your audacious permission to be used could unleash unleash a powerful goodness into the world, would you do it? Mary said yes. Will we? Fear not. Nothing is impossible with God.